Salutations and welcome to the Manabar Video Game Podcast, episode 24 on October 2nd, 2019. I'm your host, Andy Rose, and I'm joined here with Matt Samarco.
Hey, how you doing?
And Dan Party.
Hey,
How we doing, guys?
I'm good.
I'm pretty good.
Even though I sound like shit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Still
a little hoarse.
Next week I'll be okay.
Battling the infamous cold again still.
Yeah.
Got a great show today. I have some great news. I
show.
won a contest. I won a thing.
Oh yeah.
I don't win a lot of things.
This the Seinfeld thing? Like
Seinfeld thing.
the contest?
No. Wow, deep Seinfeld ref there. No, I won a video game actually. So there's a person on a Discord I'm on, two guys playing Zelda Discord. Her name is Sophie, and she has a website called spookytoadstool.com. She is at Sleepy Toadstool on Twitter. And basically it was anybody who liked her channel and commented on this thread was entered into a contest to win one of several indie games. You can basically pick one of your choice. She messaged me on Twitter a couple days ago saying I was the one who won, and I decided to pick Inside because I haven't played it yet.
I have not either.
Really?
It's good.
Yeah, so I'm really excited to get that. She asked me if I wanted it on Steam or Switch, and I to my knowledge, do not think there's a way to friend games on Switch, and if it is, I'm sure it's an 82-step process. So I'm going to get it on Steam, which is something I rarely use, but I'm very excited to play the game. So yeah, if...
What was her name on Twitter again?
At Sleepy Toadstool. And the website, Spooky Toadstool, she does indie game reviews every Friday. So it's really cool if you ever want to check out some new indie games, which I'm actually going to be checking it out pretty regularly now because I'm always looking for more indie games, especially for my Switch. I feel like I've played a lot of indie game gems over the past few years that have really, they blend themselves better to playing on the Switch, like those quick 3 to 4 hour campaign games like Golf Story or something like that. So definitely check that out, and I'm really excited to play some Inside.
Sweet.
Wow, you had a 1 in 24 chance of winning. It was 24 retweets.
Cool.
Pretty good odds.
Still,
Nice job.
it's like a 1 in...
24 chance.
It's like a 2% chance of winning? Yeah.
No, yeah.
Yeah, 2% chance of winning.
Good job. Good job, Andy.
Math. Also, I'm a little afraid. A little worried here.
Yeah, you should be.
Yeah, I last week you guys...
have been having conversations, so...
Yeah, no, you guys had a whole hour and a half conversation last week without me, and
it went very well.
it went a little too
Pick up
well.
your game.
So yeah, I definitely have to pick up my game, or else. Thank God you guys haven't figured out how to actually edit the podcast and throw it on the internet. But if you guys ever found out how to do that,
Actually, no, I'm kidding. I still don't.
That's Andy work. Matt doesn't do Andy work.
wow,
It's like Charlie work.
wow, is that an Always Sunny in Philadelphia ref? Where we're hitting all of the popular shows among the youth today. Anyways, great show. We're gonna talk a little bit about games we're playing, games coming out in October, and we're gonna top it off with a little discussion about video game controllers. Thanks. Good sound effects, Dan. So first, what are you guys playing? Let's start with you, Dan. What are you playing past week?
So I've been trying to push through more Borderlands 3.
Nice.
We've already gotten into...
I am level 14.
Step up your game. You gotta match me so we can play together.
What level are you?
28.
Well, you know what?
I know.
No, I spent 3 days in Maine, followed by 3 days in Florida. Sorry, I did not bring my PlayStation with me.
I just hear excuses. But anyway, so I'm still enjoying the heck out of Borderlands. So still pretty impressed with all the side quests and things like that. I got a new game yesterday just for the hell of it because I needed some sort of like PvP game while I'm waiting for Call of Duty, which comes out in a month. Actually, it's weird. It's coming out this month. Holy crap. But I got Dead by Daylight.
Oh.
So I kept seeing it And they did it they made it on the Switch, and I was like, all right, maybe it's still a really popular game considering they're making it for the Switch, and
Is that the
it's still
asymmetrical, like 4v1 kind of thing?
Yeah, so it's one killer versus 4 survivors.
Yeah, and you like build a camp and stuff like that. Is that the one I'm thinking of? No?
Nope.
Okay, never mind. Shutting up now. Go ahead.
So it's one killer, and you can choose and customize your killer depending on what stats or whatever, and 4 survivors. And basically, the 4 survivors and the killer are all in this one like pretty big map. And what happens is there's a ton of like generators all around the map, and the survivors have to repair and activate 5 generators to open a door and open one of 2 doors, or I think they both open or whatever, and get out in a certain time limit. Or also before the killer kills you. And what the killer has to do is he actually doesn't like kill you. He knocks you down pretty much, and then he carries you over to like a hook, and he like basically hooks you on the hook and basically has you sacrificed to this entity, they call it.
Is it any good?
It's a little quirky, but it's kind of fun as just like a stupid PvP. I think it's better and more balanced than Friday the 13th, which was kind of a clunky mess. And I also felt like as a survivor, you couldn't really get anything done as like one survivor. But in this game, if you're good enough, you can do it all by yourself. If you're sneaky, if you're, you don't make any mistakes, you can possibly get away with like hiding from this guy. And it's kind of neat. He has some special abilities. Like if you start running, there's a trail that happens, but the trail is not that great. It guides them sort of in the general direction, but if you're bleeding, like it's a perfect guide to where you are. So you have to make sure to like constantly heal yourself, as well as if you make mistakes repairing the generators, it'll make a sound that triggers like an opponent, like, oh hey, he's over here, and they're trying to repair this. And as well as when they fix and repair something, there's sort of like a noise or whatever in the general direction. So it's kind of neat.
Did you get a sense if like the killer or the groups of civilians were doing a better chance of winning overall? Because I always worry about like asymmetrical games, specifically the balancing. Like it seems like there ends up being like, oh, you can't beat the monster, or you can't kill the 4 people. Is it like been 50-50, or do you win more games? Do the humans seem to win more?
I mean, for the first time I ever played it, I got 2 people down, 2 people survived. So that was from someone who didn't really know the map, who didn't understand the mechanics of the game. So and I'm guessing these people aren't just hopping in. So, and then I played as a survivor, and I had a lot of fun as the survivor, because it's whereas Jason, you kind of knew that you were gonna get found, whereas in this one, like I said, if you're good enough, like you can even lose the person as you're in a chase. I kind of crept behind some like really high grass, and I just kind of crouched, and he was really close to me, but he was hovering around, and he just couldn't find me, and he ran away. And I was like, holy crap, I actually like snuck away. Whereas in Friday the 13th, I felt like if you were like in or under a bed, they always found you every time. So it was like boring.
Do they have like perks or anything for like, so you're not just playing the same map over and over and like adding to it? Or?
I didn't play too many maps, but I know your character you can customize. You have like, it's like, what do they call it? Randomized like skill trees, so you'll level up 5 points, and then it'll randomly go to another skill tree, and you pick, you basically go to that skill tree again.
Randomized skill trees.
Yeah, procedurally generated skill trees.
Huh, that's actually really interesting.
It is, and so and the other thing too is the killer plays in first person, and the
or the other people in third person.
Yeah, the survivors play in third.
Huh.
So, but it was interesting. It was just kind of, I just wanted some sort of PvP, and I was like, I don't want to go back to Friday the 13th. It just felt, boring, and after I played it so long, and I'm sure this game will get boring, but just for the heck of it, I was like, let's try it, and like I said, it was pretty fun.
Did either of you ever used to watch X-Play on G4?
Yes.
Adam Sessler, the guy, one of the 2 hosts of
Bald
X-Play,
guy.
he was one of the hands in making Friday the 13th. I found out.
Interesting.
I don't know if that's Dan shaking his head because
Dan doesn't find it very interesting, but
No, it's not that I found it interesting. I'm just disappointed.
Yes, I was. I don't think he actually developed it.
Why?
It seemed like he got involved with it maybe midway through production. I don't know really what his specific hand was in it.
Because you didn't like that game.
No, it's just it was so and
I got it for free, and it was fun for free to a point.
I paid money and it was okay.
I would
like I
never
said,
pay money for
it
it.
was okay, but then just after I realized that what I was playing, I was like, it's so clunky. And playing this, it's clunky, but it's still fun. It's still good. Like they have to balance certain mechanics, like when you swing with like your axe or whatever. As
Is this
the killer,
Friday the 13th?
no, as Dead by Daylight. When you swing with your axe, obviously you don't want to, because your character moves a little bit faster than they do, but it takes them a little while to go over. Like if you need to vault over something, it takes them a little while to go over something. And so the people are a little bit faster when vaulting, but he's faster when just in general running. So if you're really good at like deking out people, like you fake it to go in the building and then you decide to go in the exit part and catch them, like it's pretty, like I said, it's pretty well balanced from what I've played.
Matt's favorite asymmetrical game is not balanced at all.
And what's that?
Mario Chase.
Mario Chase is
Not balanced.
No, the person getting
maybe
away.
the best Wii U game.
Well, that's not saying too much. I like the
Hey.
Animal Crossing candy one.
Yeah,
A lot
I think
more.
Breath of the
Snowland
Wild would
rules.
technically beat it out.
that's a Switch.
Does that count?
It counts. It did.
Anything else you've been playing besides that? Unless you
Um,
have anything new to say about Borderlands. But, I mean, you
No,
guys,
just
you guys
been
pretty much
just been
well
enjoying
covered
it
that.
and just like I said, cranking it out. The only problem I'm having with Borderlands, I think we already talked about it, was just I'm really struggling to get legendaries, and I never find them. I
Yeah.
beat a boss and it's like, oh, I got a blue. So
I think they nerfed it with one of the updates too to make it even like worse. So
And I'm
I
wondering-
haven't been getting any.
I'm wondering if that's them trying
kind
to
of tapered off
make you
playing, but
trying to force you to play some of the side things that they have. Do they have like a dungeon crawler or something? You said on the side.
yeah, there's some end game stuff where you can do like little small like raids that are like 30 minutes, a bunch of areas with some guys, and then a boss at the end.
Now, do they allow you to pay real money in the game to get, like, better weapons or anything?
Which is good.
No, they
Which
do
is
have
good.
once you beat the game, there's like a mayhem mode that's unlocked. There's like 3 different levels of it. So the higher you put it, the harder the enemies are, but you get like I think exponentially better loot. So I imagine if you were like playing a lot and you were playing on Mayhem 3, you'd probably get enough loot to kind of appease your appetite, but I haven't really tried it yet.
It's just surprised that a PvE game would have such low drop rates. Like, I understand if it was a PvP game, but I'm just surprised.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they don't want everyone to have like all legendaries pretty quickly. Like they still want it to be special, I guess. when you
Yeah.
get one.
Well, you beat the game. How many legendary weapons did you find?
I don't know. Maybe altogether like a dozen.
Oh, well, that's a decent amount.
Yeah, it's a decent amount. More. I
Probably
mean,
at, like,
some of them you
5,
get and they're
6
just
right
not.
now.
Like some of them you get and they're just not even good. So
You haven't found a legendary yet?
No, I found 0. I held on my
You're at
hand.
14?
In the
he's level
formation.
14. I mean,
Yeah.
you don't get him that much early on.
I've been
really?
dicking around a lot with the side stuff too.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, so have I, but that's weird.
Matt, what have you been playing?
I've been playing. So I started playing Control. I'm only like a couple hours in right now. I can say I'm very confused. So I can support Dan's confusion in the last. It's. I don't know how I'm gonna get unconfused, even though I'm on a couple hours in. So
It's only going to get more confusing.
it seems like it's gonna get more confusing. Like I guess my first thoughts is the game looks like incredible.
Yes.
It was the first time that I've been like, wow, I'm actually excited for PlayStation 5 and the next systems because it looked so good. I was like, wow, there is actually like a difference between the technology that they have now. So just imagine like another jump to a completely other system if they had that. What differences they could do. Yeah, and the other thing is the story. Like it has this kind of like almost like a Stranger Things, Silent Hill / Twin Peaks like vibe to it, where it's a little bit unsettling, and I don't think you're supposed to really know what's going on, which is interesting. Like there's a lot of strange cutscenes that go back and forth, and there's like real live action, real live like videos of people on tape recorders and stuff like that. But there's also like almost too many pickups. Like you get all these documents that you can pick up, like little
Oh
collectibles.
my god, yeah, they're all over the place.
And I've gotten to the point where I'm just not even reading them anymore, because even when I did read them, I didn't understand them. It was just like, it would be like, office paper, and it would be, some email from one person to another person about some vague thing that you don't really understand. And like half of it's like blacked out because it's like confidential. So it's borderline getting frustrating about how little they're telling me. But I mean, I'm pretty early on, so I think it's not fair to really make a judgment yet. So
that's essentially the whole game.
Yeah, hopefully I'll have more to say next week.
It's just what the heck.
once
It's
I
just
finish
so
it.
much fun, like the combat and the not knowing what is going on.
Yeah, the
kinda
combat's
drove me.
fun. But
So, and it gets even better as you keep going.
Yeah, it's sitting in my room. I can't wait to play it. I'm actually probably going to take a break from Borderlands on Sunday and give it a go. So
awesome. Yeah, that'd be good. We can have a talk when we've all played at least some of it next week.
yeah,
So I've also been playing a couple mobile games. Last week I kind of discussed Mario Kart Tour a little bit, but that was when it was out for like a day, and I really hadn't gotten a chance to sink my teeth into it. So I've been playing it pretty heavily for the last week. I actually described it on Twitter as like smoking, and that like I'm obsessed with it, but I would not recommend it to anyone. Like
it's hazardous to your health.
yeah, basically.
That's actually pretty good.
That was the best way I could think to describe this. So actually, you're actually not trying to win the race. Winning the race is important, but the goals of these levels are actually to get points. That's how you get your stars. Now, your stars are what gets you like your unboxes of like these little kind of loot ticks that you can get throughout the 2-week tours that they have. So I'm in the 2 weeks. This is the middle of the New York tour, and it's kind of it's frustrating. I mentioned last week that the gold pass, which is $5 a month, blocks out the 200cc, which at first wasn't too bad because you only get the same amount of points as you do on the 150cc. But now that I'm understanding how the scoring system works and how like you need to get chains of you got to get like turbos and boosts and drifting and hitting other characters, it actually does help to play on the 200 because you can combo things much easier because you're going much faster. So you can get to that next item a couple seconds earlier. You can get to that next jump to continue your combo a little bit further. So it's kind of frustrating that it seems like it is kind of, if you're not paying for that $5 a month, it's going to be much harder, almost restrictively so, to get some of the stars, especially at the end game. Like
paywall.
Yeah, exactly. Like at the beginning, most of them you can get without paying. I mean, they're pretty easy, but there's like a couple cups that I have unlocked at the end of the tour, the quote New York tour, that are pretty tough. And then another thing I realized is, so there's two like special spotlight characters for this 2-week period, and then there's like 2 spotlight carts and gliders, and it looks like those are not going to be in the game next week. So it kind of gives you that like, oh, I got to buy it, or it's going to be gone potentially forever. They did say it'll probably come back at some point, but that's another little frustrating thing about this play to win thing, where they just kind of really want you to think there's some sort of urgency to getting these characters because you can't get them next week, which is frustrating. That being said, the gameplay is it's a lot of fun. It is fun to try to get like high points because Mario Kart is pretty easy, but when it's not just you have to get first, but you have to get like a certain amount of tricks and points for each track to get the 5 stars. That kind of adds something to it.
Mario Kart meets like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2.
Yeah, something like that. And then they'll have every week it looks like they'll take there's about a dozen or so cups in the 2-week tour. Every week it looks like they're going to pick one of those, and then there's like a ranking system, but it looks like you're ranked against bots, which is confusing. It's like a multi-tiered system where you start at tier 1, and if you end up on the first there's like 20 or so characters in each grouping. If you get to first on your grouping, you level up to a tier 4 cup next week. So right now I'm in the tier 4 cup because the tier 1 cup is so easy, and it's much harder. Like it's a much higher score that you have to get to like get the highest first place and get all the sweet items, and then you rank up to like level 7. So it's going to be even harder next week. But that gives you something to do once you've kind of gotten all your stars and done all the challenges that you can do. So I'm enjoying it so far. I guess we'll see where it goes.
Do you play online or offline?
You're playing online, but you're not really playing with people. You're playing against all computers. It is kind of frustrating. They have like a button for multiplayer, but it's like blanked out and it says like coming soon, which is a little bit frustrating because that's kind of what a lot of people go to Mario Kart for.
I'm just wondering if you're playing against. I'm wondering more. I don't know how much it is a concern for everybody, but I have to watch my data that I spend per month. So I'm wondering if you're just playing against bots, how much data it's using, if any at all.
Yeah, it's a good question. I wouldn't know because I'm usually been playing it on my Wi-Fi at home, so it hasn't been an issue. Plus, I have an unlimited cap, so I don't really pay close attention to how that's working out. But yeah, it's fun. I would like them to add multiplayer. I would like them to be a little less stingy with their stars and their gold pass, which is $5. Like I'd rather them just be like, if they were just like, I'm probably not going to spend any money. Maybe I'll spend like $5 for the first month, But if they were just like, hey, give us $30 and we'll just give you the gold pass indefinitely, I'd probably sign up for that. But because they want me to pay $60 a year for this game, I'm absolutely not going to do that.
Which is funny coming from Nintendo, who was one of the companies that came out and said, we really don't want to overcharge on the microtransactions for these games. I'm not sure if this is really considered a microtransaction per se.
And I think part of it is a reaction to how poorly the Super Mario Run game was, but because they just sold that for you pay $10 and you get the whole game and you don't have any microtransactions. But I mean, this game is a lot more fun than Super Mario Run. Like Mario Run, I think a lot of that problem wasn't necessarily monetization, but it just wasn't that fun. Like
you were just tapping.
You were just
jump.
Yeah, you were just it was like an auto runner. You were just tapping to jump. It was like fine, but I could see how a lot of casual Mario fans were like, I'm not going to pay $10 for this.
Yeah.
Whereas if you said $10 for Mario Kart, I think that would be and they didn't have all this nonsense, paying stuff in it, then I think that'd be like a much more sellable thing.
Cool.
Yeah, so besides that, I actually started playing Call of Duty Mobile, which just came out October 1st. So that's another. Mobile games are on a hot streak now. There's a lot going on in the mobile
you're in
world.
the happening.
That's true. I like to be in the happening. It's good. It's Call of Duty on mobile. It has like way too many monetizations. There's a battle pass that you can get for I think $9 right now. It's usually $10, and then it does the thing where you can, if you play it, you'll get enough points to buy the next battle pass. And I think it's pretty reasonable because I haven't played it that much, and I've gotten a bunch of levels. Because the levels you get are basically from daily and weekly challenges, which seems like you can get your dailies done in like a match or two, like 2 to 3 matches. So it doesn't seem like it's super restrictive as far as like Apex was, where you really had to play for like 3 hours a night to get anything sort of progress done.
How is it actually playing an FPS on a mobile device though?
It's better than I would thought.
Because all of them are on there, like Fortnite and PUBG have been on mobile.
Yeah, and I haven't tried those. It was better than I thought it would be. I haven't tried any of those other ones, so this is kind of my first foray into first-person phone action. So you play it, the left side of the screen lets you move, and you can just kind of naturally get the gist of it. And then on the right, there's like a little, there's little buttons on the screen for crouch or jump or whatever. And actually, because there's 2 different fire modes, the default one, actually, all you have to do is like scroll over and point at an enemy, and it'll just automatically start shooting, which is kind of interesting. So that kind of like...
Are you playing against computer NPCs or...
That's a good question.
Real people.
It's hard to explain. So you're definitely, when you start playing, you're definitely playing primarily against bots, but then you'll start to see humans kind of be slipped in there too. Like I noticed I won like my first 4 matches. I did 2 battle royales and I won my first 2 battle royales, which is like, and I was in squads, but still just to like outright win that easily. I was getting lots of kills.
Is it like a normal open map or is it like a rail shooter or...
No, it's a normal map. There's like, so the battle royale mode is it's like, it looks like kind of a truncated version of the one that was in Call of Duty what was the last one?
Black Ops 4.
Black Ops 4, yeah. It looks like a smaller version of that. It has a little island on the side, and there's a bunch of different areas you can go to. The match lasted for about like 16 to 18 minutes when I won, which is a little bit shorter than I think the console battle royales usually end up being like 25 minutes or so. It's fun. It's got vehicles. It's got all sorts of different types of guns. It's got sniper rifles. It's kind of got everything. So it does work pretty well. But like I was saying, you're mostly playing against bots. But from what I read online, like the higher you rank up, they kind of like get the bots out of the way, and then you're just playing against people, which I don't really have a problem with, because it gives something that, for people that are just not good at these types of games, like at least they can get kills when they're like playing the early levels, and they're so it's not just, okay, I'm going on and I'm getting killed by people that play Call of Duty all the time. So it seems like a reasonable way to do it. And then, I mean, if you want, you can spend a ton of money on different, like all of your weapons can be upgraded. They can level up. So you get like, you can get loot chests, and you can get like experience boosters for your weapons, and like,
all that normal stuff.
Yeah,
from Call of Duty.
As your character levels up, you unlock like more slots for your weapon, and like more like grenade slots, and there's some perks that you can get, which I haven't delved too deep into, but it's free to play. I'd say it's worth a shot if you want to just kind of download it. It has a free battle pass track and like a premium one, so you can just use the free one if you want.
I always just imagine I wouldn't like not having the friction of the buttons, and instead just having the screen.
Yeah, I mean, I was having more fun than I thought I would, but I also was thinking I'd probably rather just be playing this on the console. If I'm just playing it at home anyway. But I guess if you're not at home, or if you're just like if you're like hanging out with some friends at a restaurant or something, or if you're like waiting for someone, it seems like it could be a nice thing to just kind of pop in for a few minutes and get a quick match. They're pretty quick. The regular multiplayer matches are only like, I don't know, 3 to 5 minutes, and then the battle royales are about 15. And then they do have another thing that's annoying. The same thing. Mario Kart had that multiplayer unlocked. The Call of Duty has like a zombies coming soon button, which would be fun to try out and see. But it looks like they're not ready with that yet. So we'll have to.
I don't get the appeal of the whole zombie thing.
I think it's nice. Like, it can be stressful to play against people over and over again. Like, if you lose a lot, it can be like kind of a bummer. It's kind of nice to just go to a different mode where you're just kind of, at least able to get a bunch of kills and not have to worry about other people just like destroying you and being so much better than you because they play Call of Duty a lot.
Yeah.
Or they're like just really good with their
Are you
reflexes.
Getting the Call of Duty? The real one?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I enjoyed Black Ops, but I didn't love it. And I don't know.
But this is different because this isn't just Battle Royale. This is, campaign. This is multiplayer. It has like a bunch of survival mode things. Controversy of that 1 year thing exclusive to PlayStation.
You have been kind of slowly creeping into the PvP territory with like, Apex and like Battle Black Ops 4. So
and the matches, it's no longer like tiny like the old Call of Duty. Now it's like you can kind of play the way you want. If you really want to be a sniper and sit back, it's no longer a small map. You can do that.
I mean, the map sizes to me when we played the beta didn't really seem any smaller or larger than the maps that used to
that's
be on
only
the,
well they kind of do the thing where
other Call of Duties.
Where depending on the style of play, if it's 20v20, the map's a little bit.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, so at that point, if you, like I said, if you really want to, hunker down and use a sniper rifle, stuff like that.
I think part of it is just like, it's kind of intimidating for me. Like, even when I played Black Ops when I was playing it for a long time, for that like month and a half I played it, I just never felt like I really got decent at it. Like, I was still never getting like half the amount of deaths I was getting for kills. Whereas in Apex, like, everyone was more or less on the same level because no one had played Apex Legends before. But I feel like a lot of people that are like Call of Duty love it and they just play it every year. And like all the people that get it on the first day, it's not really their first day. It's like their 6th year.
I feel like it's a lot different for this one. This one felt very different.
We don't really know yet because it was the beta, but
I'm sure it's probably very, very similar. Like, it's not going to be very different. Each gun has a lot of recoil. It's realistic.
It's Call of Duty.
Yeah, but it felt better. It felt different.
You're more than welcome to try it out when we get it.
I mean, I'm probably not getting it. I'm not like a definite no, but I don't know. I just haven't been drawn to it. There's just so many. There's like with World of Warcraft, with Control, with the Link's Awakening, like with everything coming out, with the Death Stranding's going to come out a couple weeks out. No, I haven't.
I played it a little bit.
You didn't mention anything. Did you like it?
Played it last week. Oh, well, sorry. Last week it was nothing new, but
the
the one that you
podcast
missed.
that shall not be named.
No, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun, but
but you didn't like that you couldn't run.
Yeah, that was
or
it.
Charge. Okay,
Yeah,
got it.
Do you know if you can later in the game?
I do not, because that's the one I
might
haven't
get like
played.
Pegasus boots or something that lets you charge.
I hope so.
So going back to the mobile game talk, I kind of relapsed and downloaded Gears Pop.
Oh,
back
okay,
onto
never
my
mind.
phone.
I thought you were going to say Clash Royale.
Oh, Clash Royale. I mean, it's the same game.
Yeah, it's
either
Gears
way.
Royale.
Now, I'm not playing it a lot. It's just like something like, if I'm on the can or if I got like 5 minutes at a restaurant waiting for people, I'll pop it on for like 5 minutes. Why did you give me that look?
No, it's just funny. It's just funny though.
if I'm on
Just
the
completely
can.
admitted, like, yeah, I play.
Who doesn't play with their phone while they're pooping? That's just something everybody does. Admit it. There's no more magazines waiting there to be read. We're on our phones. And then after we're done using our phones, every time afterwards, we're touching someone else. And, those germs are going all over the place. It's just the world we live in.
Great.
The wood we live in?
These phones are just as disgusting as the door handles on bathrooms now. But yeah, so I relapsed on that. I've been playing a gross amount of Picross.
Picross
These past
is
couple
fantastic.
weeks. I don't know. I mean,
Never gets old.
I love the game, but I've been playing it like not just like on my way to bed or a little here, a little there. I'm like sitting there on like the full screen TV playing it for like an hour and a half to 2 hours at a time. I've just been.
That's intense. I usually just play it. It's like my go to bed.
Yeah, I don't know. Just something. I love the game. I love puzzle games, and I've just been playing it a lot lately for whatever reason. But I've been playing a majority Borderlands aside from that, and
How's it going?
I'm only at level 14. I'm still really enjoying it. I do understand what you guys were talking about with the map and the ship and how confusing that is. And
Yeah, it's
how
a nightmare.
traversing the map in general is a struggle. Sometimes I really have to turn it around a few times, and it's like I'll drive for like 5 seconds and already forget like where was I supposed to go?
Yeah.
Like they really need like
a mini, an expanded version,
just like an arrow that tells you what the kind of route, because there's so many turns that you
or
can't.
the
you have to
mini map
double
should
check
be
every
bigger
10 seconds,
or basically
Zoomed
show
out.
a larger. Yeah, exactly.
you should
show a
zoom out,
larger
like,
area.
put it on your whole screen just
Yeah.
for a second to see where you're going.
Or even do one of those things like have the map be almost the whole screen, but have the opacity down, so it's kind of like almost invisible. To only see a little bit of it.
The Witcher did
something to make it a little easy, because I'll take one turn and it's be like, oh no, you passed your waypoint by like a mile. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
The Witcher did a good job with that. They had like a little compass thing on the bottom, and then if you pressed down on the D-pad, it would double or triple the size of it. So if you just wanted to see it for a second, you just hit the button and see it. And it wouldn't, and then you could just shrink it back down.
They're doing everything correctly, because it'll tell you which direction your waypoint it is, and it has the mini map. So you would think that it's fine, but it's not. And
and the ship's even worse. I can't imagine. I can't imagine how they made such a small area so confusing and so hard to get around. Like, it's 3 floors, and it's just like basically two and a half
Symmetrical,
hallways.
yeah.
And I still get lost all the time. Like, where's the up way and where's the stairs to go up? They're over the stairs to go down.
Made comparisons when I first started playing Borderlands. I made comparisons of the map to Metroid Prime and how they did their map, because that was the same thing. Metroid Prime had like a kind of a 3D map that you can look around. The difference is Metroid Prime was more of a linear game, where this is more of like a huge open area. So, and it, like Matt said, it does very much surprise me that such a small area on the ship is like so damn confusing. Like, I have no idea where I'm going. Nothing's really explained. I'm like trying just to find this one mission that's just waiting for me to be, taken into my queue, and it's like I can't even get there. I just get frustrated and I leave.
Yeah, I hate being on the ship.
I've also been making a concerted effort to play more of the classic games that they have on the Switch for the Nintendo and Super Nintendo. Super Nintendo still doesn't really have a huge library, but I noticed some of the Nintendo titles they put on were a little more obscure, so I was trying to play more of those. One that I was like playing for like a good half an hour to an hour was City Connection. It's just kind of this dumb game where you have this car, and there's like four rows, and you start at the top row, and it's just they're all the same length, and you just keep jumping to the next one, and you're trying to avoid obstacles along the way. It's just like
Frogger? Are you playing Frogger?
Yeah, sounds.
No,
that's what I was
going
thinking.
kind of platforming across as opposed to just going up. But no, that it was just kind of this like dumb fun game. There's a lot of NES games and Super NES games that I haven't played in my time, so I'm trying to make more of an effort to play them while they're still available to me for free.
True, yeah. I got that year of Nintendo for $20. It was like free from Amazon for a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
And I still haven't really used it for more than 5 minutes. There really isn't anything that
I would say I've used it a decent amount. When we were at PAX East, I was playing a lot of Star Tropics on my Switch. I was just bringing it everywhere with me, so I'd say I'd got a decent amount out of my free year through Twitch Prime. Is that still on offer available, or is it?
No, I think it was just a short time, like month-long offer or something like that. Ways back.
So yeah, I haven't played too much. Again, I was traveling a lot, but I'm still loving Borderlands, and I think I do want to split the time between Borderlands and Control in the coming week. Of course, it doesn't help that Thursday through Sunday I'm going to be in New York City, so I keep missing all of this like thick weekend time to play games with all my traveling. But I am going to be at New York Comic Con. So I'll be bringing my Switch and probably my 3DS with me. Hopefully I'll be able to play a little bit with those, but I'm mostly going to be paying attention to the convention.
Have you finished Plague Tale yet?
No, that I'm like probably halfway through. Okay. I still haven't finished Soma either. So
look who's bringing up or stacking the games that he hasn't finished yet now. Huh?
Yeah, but there's a difference. 2 of those games are rented. Soma was free. The point is, I'm not going out and purposely buying new games to add to the collection that I'm not going to play.
That's not true. I've been, like I said, you owe me.
I'm just saying that's
you
not what
owe
I'm
me
doing.
another because, like I said, I beat Control.
That had nothing to do with me.
No, it did.
That was just to keep track of you.
Yep, and you owe me a
I don't know you shit.
So uncomfortable when they fight.
totally. It's Mom and Dad. No,
I don't have to do anything.
you totally owe me one of those the noise things. So,
No, not. I don't think your attitude warrants it.
oh, it does.
So no.
We already knew that. You know that you're replaceable.
No,
so
not really. Just like I said, like for some reason, you just get in the mood for certain games. So Picross was the one I've been really playing lately. It's just a very zen game. Puts me in a good mood.
Yeah.
The music's very tranquil. One of the music options is actually just to listen to the ocean, which I thought was really funny. It's like I'm at a spa or something like that.
Interesting.
So not a lot I saw happening in the news
No, not much.
this week. There was some rumbling. One of the things I had here was that Call of Duty mobile launched, but we already really talked about that. Luckily, one of us
Yeah,
did
mobile
play
games
it.
have been going crazy. Like there's they just had that Apple Store release for the $5 a month. You can get like a bunch of like mobile games on it, and then I guess
I didn't know about that.
Yeah, they're pretty good games, and it's pretty impressive for $5 a month. And then Android has like a competitor. There's like a competitor on Android called the Google Play Pass, which is similar. But I looked at that, and the games looked a lot worse. So it's kind of interesting that they're kind of all trying to get into this mobile market in like a different way. This like subscription here's pay $5 a month, and you get access to
I can't
100
remember
games or
what
more.
the numbers were, but I guess the Google Stadia pre-orders were really selling out.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know why.
When?
I don't.
Yeah, it could be. They said the same thing about Xbox.
Because that comes out soon for the people that like bought in early, right? But only it's like you have to buy the starter kit of the expensive starter kit with the controller, but
like $129.
but you can start playing it soon. I think.
Oh yeah, and you
like,
get your own name or something without like numbers at the end. It's
Google Stadia launches backup Premier Edition as Founders pre-order sells out.
crazy.
Yeah, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything. Xbox said that about, we sold out in the Scorpio or whatever the hell it was, and it was only X amount of units, so it doesn't mean anything. I'm also rooting for it to fail.
I can't imagine it's going to do very good.
No, people are saying there's going to be latency issues and a lot of, like, you're going to have to devote a lot of bandwidth to it. And for the people that are in college and all these things, it's not going to work.
Or how about if you're in an area where your internet connection just isn't that great?
Yeah, or if you're in an apartment complex or whatever.
I mean, I'm assuming a majority of the people buying these games probably live in like more metropolitan areas. I mean, I don't know how many units they sold for the Founders Pack, but like I can't imagine it's very many.
No. And like I said, I don't think it's going to be very good, and I think it's going to scare people away eventually. And remember, a lot of people are reviewing this, so it's probably a lot of companies like, I want to review it. I want to be, I want to be in the happening, and then they realize it sucks, and then they're done.
Like how Apex paid $1 million to Ninja to play Apex when it first came out to kind of boost the numbers.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just some sort of marketing thing, and they're hoping that, hey, we'll hit a lot of people, and then people will realize. I keep seeing tons of videos about, $800 in the first year. If you buy 2 games or whatever, or it costs, or excuse me, not in the first year, but it costs like $800 in the lifetime of the system, and on top of that, whatever games you buy, but then you're never going to be able to play them when you go to the next thing. Whereas the next console for PlayStation that you physically own is only going to cost you $500. And again, if you need to go back to it,
What do you guys think of the name Stadia? That doesn't really jump out to me as like a.
it just reminds you of a stadium, like you want to say stadium.
It's dumb, but I feel like all console names are dumb. Like the PlayStation is a really stupid kid name that is only cool because we've known it for so long. Like
That's
the Sega
true.
Saturn, they're all just weird.
The Sega Saturn, see, I think that works. I just think the Xbox One sounded stupid.
Yeah.
It still is.
I guess when you really crack it down, though, all of them are kind of dumb.
Yeah, you got
PlayStation. What was PlayStation?
I said PlayStation first because I specifically have a memory of like when I was a dumb kid getting a Sega Saturn because I thought PlayStation sounded really immature and childish and stupid, which was just my like dumb idiot want to be cool 10-year-old brain. But when I was 10, I thought it was stupid.
Speaking of stupid console names, do you guys hear that the code name for the PS5 is Prospero?
Prospero?
Yes.
What does that mean?
Prospero.
Is that some crazy Latin
prosperous?
word for like awesome, super fantastic?
Yeah, I wonder if it's like Latin for prosperous.
I don't know.
But there was some leaks have been coming out about it. But it's like it's really weird. It's like a friend of a friend of a friend of a cousin of a maid of someone who may or may not have seen the system. And Prospero is the rightful Duke of Milan. Like,
seems legit.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
But yeah, anyway, so some of the things coming out, these are based off of like people who may or may not have been involved in the project, as well as dev kits that were supposedly sent out this past summer. That the PS5 and for that matter, the whatever the X-Bone, the new X-Bone is going to be, both have cameras built in, which to me initially made me very worrisome. But
that's just like a rumor though. They don't know that for sure.
I mean, nothing's been confirmed about the systems. PlayStation only really had that one article where they talked about like the specs and the solid state drive, and then we got that pretty lackluster performance from Xbox at E3. But I understand the concept of having the cameras for streaming. I think that would make streaming on consoles a lot easier and better. And
yeah, I guess
I just don't like the idea
if
of,
it's like a not great.
Yeah, I just don't like the idea of having a camera in the system. But I mean, Dan, you have the PlayStation camera there all the time. Do you ever really worry about that?
No, you can shut it off. Like I said, you can.
I'm sure you can probably shut the camera off on the system internally too. But like, do you ever have those concerns though? Because there was that whole thing a while back. Remember I think it was the Samsung TVs, the cameras, like people could like see into them or hack into them or something like that. Like,
oh yes, I do. And I remember it was like some very. But not only that, they needed physical access to your TV as well to do that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I remember that one, yeah. So it wasn't like a concern like, oh, they can digitally watch you from wherever. But I mean, we are getting to that point where that's where that game Watch Dogs really scared the crap out of me. Because it's like, oh, yeah, someone can legit like just hack into like the building and just see whatever. Oh, apartment, A3. Oh, look at that. Great. I'm going to watch.
I just read this article the other day. I don't know why. This just kind of freaked me out, and Watch Dogs reminded me of it. This guy in China had escaped from prison for like 14 years, and he was like living in the mountains, and they like found him with a drone. And that's like, Jam, that's where things are going now. Like, Amazon's going to have drones dropping off packages. That's how, like, but as long as reports of drones just kind of flying around cities, like, who the hell knows who owns them or where they're from? Like,
but I feel at least better about that because at least the drone is not in your house.
Yeah.
I feel like it's more invasive if it's your item. You're basically broadcasting yourself without,
Well, that's why I thought it was important to bring it up. Like, do either of you have privacy concerns with a built-in camera? It does scream a little bit about Kinect to me. Remember, like, Xbone was forcing the Kinect in the system. I know that was a little different than just having a camera built in.
Is it built into the actual system?
I
that's
don't know.
the weird thing, because how is that necessarily going to be a good angle?
Well, I'm assuming maybe it's kind of like the Wii Motion Bar.
Oh, you
where
can
it was
put
like
it
a peripheral that's like wired
so at that
in.
point, you might not even need it. Like, you might not even be able to. You might not have to hook it up.
I don't know. No, because you're right. Like, most people have their systems like below their TVs, so the camera would be kind of like looking up or like at your knees.
Yeah, because then it would be
that.
weird. And at that point, people want cameras in certain angles.
But the term "built-in" makes you think that it's just like
in the system.
But the other worry is that it's gonna try and like pivot to you or whatever. It's gonna look for like facial recognition or something.
See, that's the stuff that I don't really like.
No, I don't like that either. I don't think it's even necessary. Again, for the games that I want to play, require a controller. That's it.
Well, I think a lot of people want to stream with consoles, and it's easier for them to do.
Well, yeah, but then make it a special edition. They make it like a streamer edition or whatever, where it's like.
I mean, again, you
don't force it on everyone.
I mean, you say that, but you have the PlayStation camera always hooked up.
Yeah, but I only have the PlayStation camera, and it's not even. It's like facing upwards or whatever. It's only for sound. And like I said, I can shut off the camera. If I can shut off the camera, that's fine.
Which I'm sure there's going to be an option.
Exactly.
I just thought that was very interesting. I'm not really too fond of the code name, but I mean,
it could be the opposite. It could be Nintendo Revolution and then Nintendo Wii.
Oh God.
So I'd rather a bad code name to a cool name, which will be just PS5.
Yeah.
Than the other way around.
I'm sorry. This is old news. This is dumb that I'm bringing it up now. I meant to bring it up 2
old
weeks ago,
segment.
And then you guys didn't talk about it last week. Can we talk about this stupid Nintendo Ring thing? This dumb. We're not Wii Fit, but we're totally Wii Fit ring
don't you
thing.
Get in shape? It's for the people that want to get in shape.
It just looks so.
It does look really dumb.
Ridiculous. I'm sure it works, and I'm sure it's probably fun to use, but actually physically watching people use it looks stupid. It makes them look ridiculous.
I mean, that's the same thing about DDR or Dance Dance, whatever the hell it is.
What is it? Is it a game that has like kind of like a Wii Fit?
Yeah, but
like,
the people playing it look like
stretches and things like
idiots.
that?
Yeah, it seems a little more intense than the Wii. Like the Wii Fit board was really just you could do things standing on the board, and it's actually roughly the same price as what the board was back then, which is surprising because it's just like a thin plastic piece.
Yeah, it looks cheap. I thought it was like a $20 accessory.
Well, there's a pack-in game with it. And
Anyway.
yeah, you strap one Joy-Con to your leg and another Joy-Con is on the ring, and then there's like this whole game with it. And actually, I was looking at the game. It didn't look not fun. I know there's a lot of negative words in there, but hear me out here. So you do certain things like it looked a little linear, but like you punch your way through things. And you have to do like certain amount of like movements. I know it's hard to describe on an audio podcast, but if you've seen the video, you know what I'm talking about. Where you're doing like a lot of wacky movements with it to like make it through like puzzles and stuff.
Like a platformer almost.
It's almost. It doesn't look like something I would ever in my life get, nor do I think it's probably going to be a tool for losing weight. But this is what Nintendo does. That they're always into like these like weird,
not fun and not good.
Worse. Oh yeah, was there medical thing? Didn't they have like some sort of medical machines that they were working on?
Yeah, that thing that like quietly died on the side. But I wouldn't be surprised if some of that research and development went into this. I
can see that
Ring Fit adventure. I don't know. Watching people use it looks ridiculous, and I'm sure it's gonna sell like hotcakes because that's what Nintendo brand stuff does.
Yeah, but
their brand is huge.
Nintendo Labo failed, so this could be
not really.
Yeah, I don't think that's boy. It's quiet, and I always see them. Those whole like kits all over.
Well, what's failure in your?
I mean, they didn't meet expectations.
Just because you see the boxes in the stores still, or do you have to actually?
No, but I never hear anything about it. I don't hear any like that they're continuing with it. I feel like it's like the PlayStation Move, where initially it was like, oh, it's going to take off, and a lot of games are going to be able to use it, and just they don't even feature it anymore. It's kind of like Kinect games too.
I mean, I think they're slowly coming out with the kind of like, because they came out with some stuff in 2018 and some stuff in 2019. Like they had like the two different kits.
Yeah, but I really don't think it's hit.
They sold 1.39 million worldwide of the kits. It's not bad.
That doesn't sound like a lot though.
I mean, from people I've heard of that have actually like used them, they've had a lot of fun making them, just not necessarily like after you kind of like make the cardboard thing and use it the first time. It's more the fun of like building it.
Yeah, but I just feel like that's not supposed to be just like a game. That's supposed to be like hey, all these games are going to be attached to this or use it, and for 1 point whatever million, say this other game comes out, only X amount of people are going to be advertised to this one game that you have it. So I feel like it's a fail, and so that's one of the first things I feel like Nintendo really like failed at. Besides the
Labo.
Yeah.
Did you think Labo was their first failure?
No, I know. I'm just in a while, like for like accessories.
I wouldn't call that a failure. Like 1.39, like their stock jumped up a huge amount, 1.39 million units worldwide. The reception was really good. I wouldn't consider any of that a failure. It just wasn't something that was like widely purchased, I would say. I wouldn't call that a failure. It's just, I don't think they thought it was going to sell as much as like a Zelda or a Mario.
I would imagine it did okay for them.
I think their Switch VR was a lot more of a failure.
No, but I think they wanted it to be like something that lives on and keeps going. I don't really feel like it is. I haven't seen any, like I said, any kind of advertisements. I haven't seen any kind of add-ons to it. I think it just seems like it's dead in the water.
They had the one kit and then they came out with the second one a year later, so it might just be one thing. You see like a kit every now and then. I don't know if they abandoned it or not. I have no idea.
But I don't know. That's what I've seen so far. I haven't seen anything exciting or new with it. It just came out and then it was like quiet. Nothing.
But I doubt this Ring Fit adventure is gonna
take off. No.
Take off, really. Like I can't imagine it's gonna be like I guess I don't know. I don't know if there's like any party elements to it. I mean, that's what they advertised on the video was, people kind of using it like a family or like a party of people, but obviously they want you to buy it.
Yeah, it seems a little strange because the Wii Fit was at least like targeted towards that kind of casual audience that just bought this game for Wii Sports, and like a lot of people that don't play video games bought that just to have like bowling and things like that. So that was kind of a good fit for that system. But I feel like for Switch, it seems to be more geared towards people that play Zelda and Mario and actual like long games or Pokemon or things like that.
Like also like the Wii was in like everybody's living room when Wii Fit came out. I understand that the Switch has sold a lot, but not as many. Like kind of like you said, like the Switch is geared more towards hardcore Nintendo fans, where the Wii was just like grandparents were buying them.
Yeah, my parents had it.
Play bowling.
Yeah, and I'm trying to look up Wii Fit actually sold better than I thought it did. For what it was, but a lot of what I noticed in this video for the Ring Fit adventures, it reminded me a lot of when the Kinect was on its way out. It was like called Project Natal, and it got this family together, and it was going to be like, oh, like cool, the family's everyone's switching off and using it. It's exciting, and then the Kinect was just a complete disaster.
I already feel like the Switch is like a family thing. I mean, they have that game that first came out. It's like 2-1 Switch or whatever the heck it's called, 1-2 Switch. Sorry,
so close,
and so close. Like where you could turn around and whoever pointed the gun first,
that was like a fun little but that's mini games. Like, it wasn't worth the $50.
Definitely it's not worth the $50 price tag. But I feel like the system already does what it's advertised. Like you can use if they did tennis or table tennis or something.
I'm surprised they haven't had a Wii Sports
would be
Switch edition instead.
I would buy that. I think playing ping pong, like actual ping pong, like moving around and seeing that would be a lot of fun. I would buy that. But
to its credit, Wii Fit as of March of 2012 had sold 22.6 million copies worldwide. That's actually a lot better than I thought the Wii Fit sold.
Yeah, it's a lot. That's weird.
Oh my God, every
GameStop had all those used boards.
Oh my God.
I remember when I worked at GameStop, there'd just be a pile of them in the back in the corner. So I'm wondering if that's just one of those things where it's like, I'll lose weight. Bought it 2 months later, realized they weren't losing weight from it, and tossed in it. I've never talked to anybody who's actually used one and enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Even though I'm looking at the reviews for Wii Fit, it had generally favorable reviews. Everything's an 8 out of 10 or up. Except for a couple places, IGN gave it an 8 out of 10. X-Play, speaking of which, gave it a 4 out of 5. So yeah, I guess we'll see. It just looks really dumb to me, but I mean, I thought the Switch Lite looked dumb, and evidently that's been selling really well.
I don't understand that. I really don't.
I don't know. There's an audience. So it is October 2nd, which means we're going to talk about all of the games releasing in October. There's a lot of them. A lot of them I've never heard of. So this is in order of release date. Actually, there's one that I really want to talk to you about, Matt.
All right.
Call of Duty Mobile, Destiny 2, Shadowkeep. I'm assuming that's just an expansion. Well, obviously, it's Destiny 2. Neo Cab, Ghost Recon Breakpoint.
Boo.
Which I heard has been getting a lot of flack for microtransactions.
Good.
And stuff like that.
Hope it fails.
Yeah, it looks like a nightmare.
Yeah.
It fails.
So Dan's pretty excited about that.
Yep.
Atlas, Concrete Genie, Invisible, John Wick Hex, Trine 4, The Nightmare Prince, Ukulele and the Impossible Lair. Have you heard of that, Matt?
Yes. Is that that's
the top-down / side-scrolling ukulele.
I did not know that was coming out. That's interesting because I wanted to play it because I really enjoyed that. Kind of got the ukulele game kind of got mixed average reviews, but I actually really enjoyed it. If you're into those kind of Banjo-Kazooies, I mean, it's not the best game ever, but it's going to have the drawbacks of those old games. But it was still a lot of fun and had fun characters.
Well, I heard the updates for it. I know you played it right when it came out, but the updates for it later on actually tightened up the controls a bit. So it's actually something that I'd be willing to give a shot to now. But that's the one I was really interested when I saw. I'm like, I wonder if Matt's getting that. Doraemon, Story of Seasons, Grid, Killer Queen Black, Children of Morta, The Witcher 3 Complete Edition for Switch.
Are you literally going through every single game
That's releasing in October?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's dropping.
Every single one.
Yeah, I'm just listening them out. See if anything. It's the same thing I did for September. Same thing I did for August. I know you missed 8 podcasts. Were you just not remembering, or were you not here?
No, okay. Go ahead.
Okay. Where was I? Oh yeah, The Witcher 3 is releasing for Switch. Little Town Hero, Felix the Reaper, Travis Strikes Again, No More Heroes Complete Edition, Lovecraft Tales, Plants vs. Zombie, Battle for Neighborville. That's a weird name. Oh, look, Ring Fit Adventure comes out this month. Yay! The Legend of Heroes, Trails of Cold Steel 3, WWE 2K20, Call of Duty Modern Warfare comes out on Dan's birthday,
It does.
as well as The Outer Worlds.
I figured. See, that's why I thought you were gonna like highlight the ones that you.
I tried. Usually I do. I usually
okay.
try to like kind of go through and weed out ones.
And then
that-
figured indies and stuff. But okay,
yeah,
go ahead.
But I mean,
You do you.
Even when I list them out, I list out at least like 20 to 25 anyways.
Okay. Well, that looked like a lot more than 25. I saw that list and it just looks like, holy
So,
crap.
3 more left, Dan. Harvest Moon, Mad Dash, Super Monkey Ball, Banana Blitz.
Oh god, is the remake? Is that the remake?
I
That's
guess.
coming out on Switch.
Luigi's Mansion 3
October.
and Moons of Madness. That was not that many. A lot of it is the system titles that you're seeing in my list.
Oh, maybe. I just glanced. Okay. See, I just looked at his phone from afar and I was like, holy goddamn.
I'm like, all right, this might be a little.
Yeah, there you go. That's a little bit better. Okay.
There's still a lot of them, but
I just saw a cluster of like.
you let me do the
Okay,
host thing.
all right.
Evidently, my throne
Sorry.
isn't going anywhere anytime
My
soon.
ego kind of, grew a little bit.
Did
Yeah.
you mention Luigi's Mansion?
I did.
31st.
Luigi's Mansion 3,
Halloween.
October
There's
31st.
too many games I want to play.
Yeah, I'm getting a little worried.
Then Death Stranding, 8 days after that.
I'm getting a little worried because I seem to have trouble keeping up with playing games.
Yeah, welcome to the club.
Well, no, I mean, I have trouble even more so than you guys. It's like I feel like now I have to like take any hobby that I have that I hold dear to me, throw it completely out the window and just
must.
play these games because
Yes.
otherwise I'm never going to get through these.
Well, it also depends on the game, too. If you play World of Warcraft, you don't have time to play anything
I
else.
know. I'm still playing that. Level 47.
So
I
that's why those games like Apex, I was like, I can't. I'm just wasting my time. I'm not learning anything new. I'm not like finding a new story.
I was having fun with Apex.
I mean, you have fun. I mean, that's the end goal is to
That's
have
the
fun.
sucky
But
thing, but-
for obviously, wanting to have like, oh, what are we playing new?
Well, the problem with me is I keep having all of these like life thing. Like all of my consoles are here in my room. I don't like travel with them or anything.
You mean you work and
Yeah,
do things
I have
outside
a-
of playing?
I have a social life. I don't live with my
come on,
girlfriend,
that's
so
weak.
there's a lot of traveling, and now she lives even further away.
Girlfriend?
Thanks,
See, you gotta cut this
Ashley.
stuff out of your life so you can start playing.
She expects me to come over and watch her play video games. I don't think so. I don't know if that's happening.
She sounds awful.
I love you, hun. So yeah, those are the games releasing for October. There's a lot that I'm getting actually. I'm actually outright buying 2 of those, and then there's 2 that are on my GameFly list.
What are you
So
buying?
that's 4 games altogether for just October. I'm
Outer Worlds.
buying Outer Worlds
Yep.
and
God,
Call of
dang
Duty.
it.
Oh, you are buying Call of
Well, I
Duty.
played the beta. Remember, I pre-ordered it
Okay.
to play the beta. I mean, I can.
Well,
cancel that.
I thought you pre-ordered just to get the beta.
I sort of did, but I liked the beta. And that's probably something I'm going to want to play day one with you. And it's probably something I'm going to probably keep for a while. I still have Black Ops 3. I keep those for a while because I'll play intermittently and I don't have any other multiplayer game going on right now. So,
Well, one thing. All right, no, go ahead, finish your other two.
well, and then I'm renting Luigi's Mansion 3 from GameFly
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to pick that one up.
as well
Luigi's
as
Mansion. Can't wait for that.
That's
there
your
was
jam.
one other that I was renting.
Now I
I've-
want ukulele because of friggin' Andy reminded me it exists.
Is that the other one?
Yeah. Link's Awakening. I'm not getting that until mid-October because my friend from Ireland is bringing it to me, but I'm not going to be playing that right away because I still want to. I don't know how long I'm going to be able to hold off from playing that game. We'll see what happens. I feel like we have to do like a stress test every week. Like, did you play it yet? How close are you?
Don't break the rules. You got to follow
you
the. Got to
should play
follow the.
No, I swear there was one other game that I was renting from GameFly, but I don't see it here. Ukulele, I'd like to try that out at least.
Well, while you were
Yeah,
looking,
try the first one.
While you're looking for the other game, I guess I heard some sort of advertisement for Call of Duty that the campaign is going to have like choices that you make that affect the outcome. I know you're doing that, but I mean, I really think that this campaign is going to be, gripping and actually like interesting compared to the other ones. I don't think it's going to be over the top like, a Michael Bay movie. I think it's going to be, very serious and have like a serious tone to it. So before you avoid the campaign completely, this might be something to take a look at.
The subject matter doesn't interest me. For
So
a campaign. If I'm
regular
spending-
military stuff doesn't?
Yeah.
At all?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't want to waste it. It has nothing to do with the quality of the story because a lot of people have told me like Call of Duty Modern Warfare was like, oh my god, it's
Yeah,
such
but you
a
said
great
the campaign of the other one was
Yeah, I didn't like any of them. I didn't like the subject matter, and then there was most of them were bad. Like even Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4. Everybody tells me the first Modern Warfare. Call of Duty
4.
Whatever.
Modern Warfare.
Whatever. Everybody tells me
was...
how much they love that campaign. I'm sure that's true. I just couldn't get into the subject matter, even for that one.
Okay. All right. So it's that genre in
like
general.
If I'm going to spend my time playing a story mode for a game, that's the same thing on why it's so hard for me to play The Witcher. It's just kind of like, and I know I am going to play that game eventually just because I know it's such a great game, but it's just like, certain games do that to me where it's like I can acknowledge that, maybe it's really good. It's just like not something I necessarily want to spend my time doing. I'd rather finish up the A Plague's Tale story. I'd rather play Control.
No, I thought it was just it's a Call of Duty campaign. I don't care.
I'm not
But
gonna
if it's
lie.
that genre, that I understand, that would also make sense why
'cause I
Battlefield sorry, I just hit someone's foot. I
can't tell you any military campaigns I've ever liked. It's not. There's one. There is one, and I don't know if this is just the nostalgia factor or what, but Medal of Honor Allied Assault for
I never played that.
For the PC back in 2003. I loved it. It was it was WW2. It was like they were basically the first ones to do that whole WW2 Normandy whole campaign, and it was really fun. And I bet if I went back and tried it now, it would be just god awful because it's so old. But I still have it for the PC. So that was probably the rare one. Which is why I was excited for Call of Duty WW2 originally.
And then it was
disappointed
by the campaign. That was very forgettable.
So you're definitely getting the ukulele game, Matt?
Probably not definitely. I mean, I've got so much other stuff to play. I'll probably put it on my radar, and I'm sure it'll be... it's not a game that's probably going to sell crazy, so I bet it'll be on sale in a few months for, $20. Because I think it's only $40. I just checked it online.
What about Banana Blitz?
It's like $30 or $40. Banana Blitz, no. That's a bad game.
Your face of just disgust when I asked that.
There's one amazing Super Monkey Ball game, that's Super Monkey Ball 1, and there's one honorable mention Super Monkey Ball game, and that's Super Monkey Ball 2. Those are the only two that
I
are
had
worth
fun
playing.
with Super Monkey Ball 2. Granted, I haven't played the first yet.
It was fun, but it had way too much randomness. There was switches in the levels that you had to hit, and there's just random things that were very chance that weren't as skill based as the first game. So it was a lot more random.
Dan, what about you? Anything besides Outer Worlds or Call of Duty? I see you got your GameStop pre-order list.
I do. I was gonna get.
I know you're getting Ghost Recon Day 1.
Not touching that with a 10-foot pole.
Matt, here's the other one I wanted to ask you about. Destiny 2 Shadowkeep. Are you going to be playing that expansion, or are you just pretty much off the Destiny 2 train?
I am off. I played it a bunch when it came out, but now I just feel like it's that kind of I'm not caught up. I don't want to just kind of jump in.
Something happening.
I tried to do that 6 months ago, and I just couldn't get into it. There was way too much going on. They added way too much.
Have you tried playing since they split from Activision?
No.
I'm just wondering if that would do it for you at all, or if that would change your perspective.
The only way I would actually want to play Destiny, I know it's a really fun game. The only way I would want to play it is if there was some way for them to onboard me to get to because when I was done, I had all the max level. I had
Sounds like a torture.
Yeah, I had all the gear from the raid and everything, but now everything's because there's so many expansions. Everything's I'm not high level anymore. I would need something to say okay, you're not max level, but if you do these 10 things, it's not going to take you forever. You'll be caught up to where the expansion is, and then you can start doing that stuff. I just don't want to have to go through all that junk, especially because I don't know any of it now. It's I feel like I'm left behind.
I'm really excited for Outer Worlds.
Yeah, I am as well.
That's another game that looks really good. That looks impressive every time I look at it. So
yeah,
that'll be interesting.
I think I'm most excited for that because I've looked at such a little amount on the game. I've been just one of those games where
I've seen screenshots. That's about it.
Yeah, but I've seen enough to get me in, so I've been pretty much just avoiding any other information about it.
Yeah.
Now, granted, for me in this day and age, I feel like it's risky to get a game day one that's not like a proven commodity because you never know how it's going to turn out. But I have a good feeling about it. So we'll see how it goes.
It is kind of proven because the company who made it did Fallout New Vegas.
Yeah, I never played New Vegas, though. And that was also a very long time ago. I doubt any of the same people are still at the company,
No, but
that's like Retro making the new Metroid Prime. Nobody from Retro who worked on the original Prime trilogy is still there. It's just a namesake.
It could be a couple people.
No, I'm sure there still is a couple people. But no, I'm just excited because the game looks good. It looks good. It reminds me a lot of Fallout. I'm very excited for that. Was there anything else you were getting besides that this month, though? That and Call of Duty?
No, I'm trying to cut back on games that just aren't for me, or like I said, if I'm already playing something like it, I was gonna get Code Vein. That's like the anime version of like Dark Souls, but I just realized I was like, I have way too many other games like it that I want to play. Like they announced Neo 2. I still haven't beat Neo 1, and that's another like samurai hack and slash that that's like really really difficult that I need to go back and beat.
Didn't you get a new Steelbook recently, or am I making that up?
I got Borderlands, and then the other day I got the Dark Souls trilogy one.
Yeah, that Borderlands, I saw the Borderlands Steelbook on the coffee table. It looks really nice.
It is,
it looks just
cool.
like the cover of the regular game, but the cover of the regular game looks really nice.
Yes,
I thought it was
I didn't know that in the
inventive.
flowers on the bottom
There's
are
people's
actually
faces.
I didn't see
the
that.
characters.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I was like, but no, I was gonna get Code Vein, but I stopped. I stopped myself from getting it, and then Medieval I was gonna get, but Matt and I talked about that last week, and it's just I never really played it as a kid, and now it's just gonna feel like a generic hack and slash.
Yeah, it seems like a good rental. It seems like a game that you could beat in like 6 hours and
What
you
game is
never,
this?
never need to
Medieval?
play again.
Oh yeah.
It's like that PlayStation.
I did listen to the podcast because I still had to produce the thing.
So at that point, I was like, I got Call of Duty, I got Outer Worlds, so I got the RPG and I got the multiplayer. That'll hold me over for a week and a half until the game that I am super duper obsessed with now. Well, now even more than normal. I don't know why. Death Stranding.
Are there any other huge games coming out aside from Death Stranding between now and December 31st? Because that'll make me feel a little better if I know that like November and December I have enough time to kind of finish up all these games.
Star Wars Jedi Order, but I know you're not interested in that. Or Fallen Order that much. They would probably be a rental for you.
No, it'll be a rental, but they finally released some. I've heard from behind the scenes that the actual demo of the game was way better than the footage they showed us. So they just showed us.
The footage that they showed was
specifically
very linear and boring.
Yes,
kind of.
the footage that specifically EA showed us was really bad, and then the footage we saw at I think the Xbox conference looked a little better. And then reports are behind the scenes of people who play the demo. It's like, oh yeah, they messed up on what they showed the public because this is way better than what they showed.
Yeah,
so,
I've heard of that too.
No, I'm definitely gonna rent it though. I'm not gonna buy it.
And then this is one that you may buy, depending on. I don't know if you've played the first one, Doom Eternal.
I still have to play the first Doom.
Yeah,
Darn.
It's so good. And it's
I know,
pretty short too.
That's something
it's pretty short too.
Really, really want to play. I might just get it for the Switch.
No, don't get it for the Switch.
Yeah, I wouldn't get it.
No, get it for it. Not only that, it's so much cheaper for the PlayStation. It's like $15.
Well, also Matt owns it. I can borrow it.
True.
Well, yeah, exactly. So
it's just such a fast-paced, nice-looking game that I don't think it would. I heard doesn't run great on the Switch. Like it's serviceable.
And at that point, if you're
I just figured because I'm traveling a lot.
True. I mean,
but
I bet
in
it
December,
works. But
hopefully you're not. So, or in November, hopefully you're not either.
Yeah, I am going to Florida for a week, but that's about it.
Get it.
Thanksgiving week.
Get it on PlayStation.
Oh, that's probably when I'll play Link's Awakening.
Yeah, exactly. 15 hours, you beat it. It's great. If you were a fan of the old ones, a lot of the enemies that they brought to like 3D is like, oh my god, I remember this as a kid and it gave me nightmares.
I read an article today about someone where they got the first Doom running on a McDonald's cash register.
nice.
What?
I mean, the cash registers are just the touchscreen computers. I mean,
still
they have more power than a Windows 95 computer at this point. So.
Yeah.
That's still
That's
really
pretty cool.
funny.
Oh, something I didn't get to mention because I wasn't here last week. I got 3 new amiibos that I was really excited about. I got the Squirtle amiibo from Smash Brothers, and Squirtle's my favorite Pokemon, so I had to get that one. I got the
Charmander's better.
I got the my girlfriend's favorite is Charmander. She calls him Charlie.
That's kind of cute.
It's just what she
That
knows.
is really cute.
I got the Ocarina of Time amiibo, which is something that I've been waiting for a long time, and I realize now that the reason that I got it for so cheap is because they're re-releasing it. But I got the Japanese edition. There's no difference, but it had Japanese writing on it, and the people who sold it to me from eBay, his kids made a little origami art and put it in the box for me.
That's cool.
I thought that was pretty adorable. So I got that one. I was really excited to have that one. It's the centerpiece of my Link amiibos collection that I now have up to 10 Link amiibos.
I've kept mine in the
so
box.
many.
I refuse to open it.
That is a lot. And then
So
I
many
also
versions
got
of Link.
the Link's Awakening amiibo, which I find especially fascinating because it has the same like sheen to it that Link does in the game.
Yeah, it's kind of like cartoony.
Yeah, it's very like
great.
a claymation.
Yes, it looks
style.
great.
But yeah, so I just thought I'd mention that I was really excited for that. Moving
And
on.
you should have gotten the Solid Snake one too. But I know you're not a huge Snake fan. But
I really loved the first Metal Gear Solid. Like,
I
love playing it, but it's not an amiibo I would go out of my way to get.
I had to get it.
Moving on to our discussion topic for the day, brought to you by Matt Samarco.
Yep. That's my name.
He wants to know what our favorite video game controllers are, and Dan
so what is
says his answer might surprise us. Am I allowed to guess?
Yes.
If you say the N64, I'm going to punch you in the face. Okay.
Is it the Super Nintendo controller? Oh, okay. I'm very excited to know then. This is the Dreamcast controller?
Yes.
Yes! I knew it was going to be one of the two.
That's funny.
Just something about this controller, it just really
Dan
felt
is currently
like,
holding in. Oh, so let me just describe what's going on the table here. Matt decided to bring out every controller he owns just about. So we have a lot of different controllers. So kind of as we talk about them, we can like caress them and feel them and touch them.
Which doesn't help you, but
Press the button.
maybe you're happy knowing that we're doing that.
Yeah, no. Having a physical representation
it's
in
great.
front of you, it gives you the ability to talk about it a little more in
the
depth.
Dreamcast controller does feel very like form factor, where like your hand snugs into
it
the
felt
back.
it felt
But,
really great. But I think one of the things that really sold me on it was the VMU, which is the visual memory unit that was in.
I was gonna say that's like a bad thing, not because
I
that's a
loved
bad
it.
idea, but like how often was it used to? Like,
I loved it
successfully? Like
because-
if you look at the Dreamcast, there's a screen and there's a hole in the middle, and you can slip in like a little what's like a memory
like a
card that
cartridge.
has
Yeah, but
it
I
has
just
like a
love
Neopet inside, right?
I just
Yeah,
love the fact that it
basically.
was like a digital, like a not what was those
Neopet.
Tamagotchi.
Tamagotchi.
Yeah, Tamagotchi things.
Or the original Digimon were those little guys you could carry around.
Yeah, but it was
in
great.
battle.
It was great too because it was like, you bring it over to a friend. This was like the time when it's
It's like a little mini Game Boy too.
Yeah, so I thought it was really neat that you could digitally kind of manage your thing right on, there. So if you're like, oh, hey, I want to copy this and give my friend a copy, you can kind of like do it from here. So I really loved the VM, visual memory. And on top of that, when you're playing certain games, there'd be different like designs.
Yeah, I never actually had a Dreamcast when it was like out, but I got this like not long ago, like 5 or 10 years ago, much after. So I didn't really play it that
Yeah,
much.
because it was only around for
out.
like a year and a half.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
it
it
died
was
quick.
way ahead of
Died
its
hard.
time.
Oh, absolutely.
I remember being super excited, like, oh, the Dreamcast coming out. This is like Sega's return, and somehow it just got people just not,
For anybody listening, or as well as you guys, something I like to do a lot is watch like video game documentaries on YouTube. And one of the most fascinating ones is any videos you find about like kind of the rise and fall of Sega. And it wasn't the Dreamcast that made the Dreamcast fail. It was the Sega Saturn that made the Dreamcast fail.
Yep.
Combined with the popularity of PlayStation. Once the PS2 came out, the Dreamcast had
Yeah, it was
no
fun.
chance. They lost all like
respect.
branding. It was brand respect, basically. That the Saturn was such a poor launch and had such a poor life. But I agree with Dan, though. The Dreamcast controller in your hands does feel like one of the best things. I'm not a huge fan of the joystick per se, but everything else, I never had a Dreamcast. I still don't have one. I didn't even really know it had these little like Tamagotchi Game Boy memory card things until like recently. But it was ahead of its time. It had these. It had broadband connection.
Yeah, it's like
I
Fantasy
think-
Star Online.
was it
It's
a
like one of the
DVD
first
player as
games
well?
you could play online.
Was it a DVD player as well?
I think that was
No, you know what? I think that was the downfall to it. Yes, you're right. It didn't.
The big thing about the PS2 was it was the cheapest DVD
player around, yep.
at the time.
But I remember it was neat because it had a really nice menu too. I remember you could play like music in it. You could put like a CD and play that. And
the only time I played a Dreamcast was at Disney. They
Really?
had them set up in like the Imaginarium.
there
or
were
something.
some really good exclusive games for it. One of the best party games I've ever played called Power Stone and Power Stone
I
2.
love those games.
It
Power
was
Stone.
so ridiculous.
That's like
It-
Smash before Smash.
on crack. Like it was like
I
there.
wish they would bring that back.
That was fantastic. It was there was another one for Xbox that they made, and
like
it was
the D-pad,
and it was a
really.
very like American Gladiators type of game too. I know the cover was like a guy in like a globe, like it was like almost like a fenced in like globe like sphere, and he was trying to like roll around. That was like the cover. I forget what the name of it was. That was the closest thing I can think to Power Stone, but Power Stone was just absolutely ridiculous. I just remember the announcer was like ridiculous. He'd be
got
like,
so excited.
"Get ready, 3, 2." Like he
Did
was
they
just
ever re-release
absolutely-
those games at all?
No. It was just a really great like. It was it was the games were absolutely ridiculous. They were all over the
it was
place,
like a 3D
but they
Smash
were
Brothers.
so much fun. Like one of them, it was like basically there was like a giant board, and you controlled this one character, and you had to go up and get like power stones that matched your color, but you could punch people's like color or whatever they grab, you could punch it out of their hands or whatever. And the more they stack, the more you can like punch them.
I do love punching people.
But that was just like one of the many mini games that was just like super fun.
Do you know what's really satisfying on the Dreamcast controller? The triggers.
The triggers are nice.
Those are very satisfying.
The wire's weird though. It comes out of the bottom.
It comes out of the bottom, but then you could hook it into the back. But I think that was just because of the what do you call these
VMUs?
VMUs, MUD, MREs.
Wow.
Yeah, I think it was just because of the memory card things. The fact that they were on top, you had to have the cord coming out of the front. And then you could like loop it onto the back, and it had this little hook.
Yeah, it just seems weird.
I also feel like cords back then were so long anyway. They like kind of expected everyone to play it across the room. So at that point, it was like, I got enough slack.
That is very odd. But everything else about it, like it has more good than bad, I would say. Do you want to be last, Matt, or do you want to go?
I'll go. Whatever. Either way.
Let's guess Matt's.
What do you guys think?
Is it definitely on here?
Yes.
All right, it's definitely on here.
That cuts out like 80%.
I know, that's what I was thinking. All right.
I don't have a ton of controllers.
The only thing I can think of, and I don't know what you're targeting, but Xbox 360.
I don't know, the Sega Genesis.
Nope.
Is it the GameCube controller?
No.
Okay.
It is
I'm gonna stop guessing.
It is just the basic B PlayStation 2 controller is my favorite.
DualShock 2.
It is a good one.
Yep.
It is a good one. I just realized there's no N64 controller on here.
Why would we have that on a table of best controllers? Why would we? I have one in my room. You want me to go grab it?
No, please don't.
I mean, everyone knows what this controller is. Like, it's a lot more famous than the Dreamcast controller, so I'm not going to talk too much about it. But I mean, obviously, they made a good controller with the PlayStation 1, and then they made this one better with the analog and the DualShock, which they added like a DualShock version for the original PlayStation. Another thing I liked about it is the wire was like longer than any wire before it. Yeah, so it could literally, even if you had a kind of a big room, it could always fit like more than I think any other controller I had. And then another thing I liked is like I never really enjoyed the whole battery system. Like with Xbox 360, you had to use batteries. With this, like I didn't have to worry about batteries. You didn't have to worry about charging anything, which I just thought was like easy and nice.
Well, not only that, they haven't had to really change the design all too much.
Yeah,
I mean, going from the PlayStation,
like the PlayStation
1, all they did was add analog sticks.
They're pretty similar, but like I said, I do like the ability to not have to worry about like, oh, is this controller charged? And I don't know, people seem to really not like wired controllers. They prefer wireless, but I never really had an issue with any sort of wires. And then the PS4s, I like the PS4. It like feels a little bit heavier and a little bit bigger.
It's definitely the same basic layout, but the PS4 was like the first time it actually changed the mold, though.
Yeah, and I don't really like the touchpad. Seems kind of useless. Whenever I'm using it in a game, it's like it feels awkward. Like I'm trying to like reach over my thumb, which is like not far enough, and they don't use it very well.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping they would do more. I remember when they announced this, I was like, oh, this is going to be great. And they just never really did anything with it.
Oh, with the touchpad?
Yeah, I was kind of hoping that they were going to have like maybe, if it's a ninja game or something, maybe you could, do certain slashes in certain directions or whatever.
Yeah, and I don't know,
or even like reloading or something.
Yeah.
I think Days Gone was the last one to really utilize this, and it was just like you scroll up and you hit.
Yeah, Days Gone was the first one, like the only
and the
PS4
last one that I
game
really
that was
remember.
Like, yeah, that's actually kind of cool.
That was it.
I mean, I do like it as a button. I don't.
It is a nice. Yeah, it was nice because you didn't have to reach all the way over here. You could just hit the corner. And you could, automatically hit the button.
I don't think I ever actually do. I think I just hit the center usually.
Oh no, it was during like if you're in the middle of a fight, like, oh crap, hang on, you could just you could click it there instead of having.
But
I gotta
again,
find this and click it.
The only reason I like having it as a button is because they got rid of the select button for the share button.
It also looks nice too. Like it looks.
Yeah,
as a
but no,
solid.
the DualShock 2 though, that's like classic because the PS1 controller was great.
Perfect.
PS1. Oh wow. This is the PlayStation Classic controller.
That's the PlayStation.
Okay, I think
Classic,
the original PlayStation controller was a little more hefty than this, but just the overall feel of it, I really do like. And then the DualShock 2 just took all of that.
It just added
the joysticks, and the joysticks on the PS2 I actually liked. It was the PS3 controller that I thought was an abomination.
Well, you hated the L2s and the L2 and R2. I feel like the
PS3 controller can go straight to hell.
It's the same thing except just the L2 and the R2. That's it. It is exactly the same thing.
Didn't have it had the like touch sensitive controller buttons too. Like you could press in X and it would do.
I don't really think that came into play a lot.
You could press like halfway.
Yeah.
So
like,
I think the thing,
But I
harder
mean, that
press.
wasn't really like it. Still didn't like you. If you were pressing the button, it didn't feel any
Yeah, so it
different.
didn't feel as strong though.
Oh, see, I didn't have a. I didn't have a.
you are correct. The joysticks are pretty much the same. I think the big difference was on,
was just
on the PS3 era, I was playing a lot more FPS shooters, and they didn't feel good for that. Whereas the PS2, I was playing a lot of RPGs where it didn't really matter, or like Grand Theft Auto, I didn't really notice. But
Yeah,
when I would,
the same design. It's just the
I
L2s
noticed
were weird.
I noticed the joystick thing in the PS3 era when switching back and forth between the 360 and the PS3 controller, and the 360 controller just felt so much better.
For FPSs, I would agree, but for
Yeah.
other games, I enjoy the L1, R1. And I remember I was so frustrated because a lot of games used L2 and R2, and I was like, I don't know if I can get used to that.
The L2 and the R2 on the PS3 controller just made me vomit.
They're
Like they went
weird.
kind of like underneath the controller when
Well, you had to
press
go, like,
down on
loop
them.
around.
It's like freaking me out. All right, what do you guys think my favorite controller is out of any controller ever made?
Is it on this table?
It is on the table. Each person gets one guess.
360.
I'm going to go with 360.
I'm gonna go with. I'm switching then to GameCube.
Because Dan wanted to guess the same thing.
No, because I realized I saw the GameCube controller
Okay.
and I was like, it's
So
GameCube.
this was really I got to be honest. Most controllers I didn't really have a problem with. Like even the Wiimote was comfortable for what it was. I just hated the gimmick around it. The 360 is very comfortable, but GameCube.
Yes.
What?
I knew it.
GameCube.
What? This thing is so weird. What the
So
hell?
all right,
Cool.
it is weird and for like.
Like, nobody likes the C-stick.
Okay, for modern gaming, it doesn't work very well. But like, people weren't thinking of like twin stick shooters when they were
it's
inventing this controller. But it
perfect for Nintendo
feels
games.
so. There's a reason they still make
green means
this
go.
controller.
Well, yeah, because every other Nintendo controller sucked.
Well, not anymore.
Not anymore.
They're still making it
The
for
Pro
current Smash
controller
Brothers. Oh, I will say the Switch Pro controller is up there.
fantastic.
I love that Switch Pro
It is
controller.
fantastic.
But no, the GameCube controller just always felt so good in my hands, and they switched from a plastic to a rubber joystick from the N64 because that N64 joystick would really. Who the hell invented that thing? What were they
Some
thinking?
alien with 3 hands.
You know why? It was they were probably trying to promote like, hey, we're eventually going to sell gloves that you can buy.
I like that each button kind of had like a different size and shape. I
drove me
liked that a lot.
insane.
So
yeah,
it
the
was
shoulders are really nice. The shoulder
The
buttons.
shoulders are great. They have that click.
They're very clicky. I'll give it that.
The if I had to pick one thing I didn't like, the C stick is a little weird because it's a nub, but I didn't really have to ever use it. I only used it in Smash Brothers to do a quick attack. The D-pad, I would say, is the one thing that I really don't like about the game, the controller. Although I didn't really ever have to use it because by this point in Nintendo games, you weren't really using the D-pad for anything. Like that kind of went away. Kind of like that's why most modern controllers don't even. The Xbox controller really doesn't even like. You don't really use it at all for anything.
No,
You
it's
really,
just in case you don't like the accuracy.
yeah,
Probably.
I will
of the,
say the 360 controller is very like close. Like it's very hard for me to pick between the two. I do love the the Xbox 360 controller.
I just hated having to replace batteries every week and like being
Well,
like, oh no, I don't have any
yeah,
batteries. I
I
can't
had the
play.
charge
Yeah, but I feel like
But-
that never
Yeah.
was an issue with the Xbox 360. I feel like those batteries lasted.
They did last a while. Also, you could just get a wired one instead.
That is true. They did a wired one, so.
Yeah, I never. At the time, I didn't have enough money to buy like a new controller, so I was just kind of sticking with that.
It is funny because you guys talked about sequels that fixed everything wrong about the game, and Dan mentioned how I often use Assassin's Creed 2 as an example for when a company does that to a game because AC2 was like so perfect compared to AC1. I will say Xbox pulled an AC2 when switching from the original Xbox to the 360 controller. The original Xbox controller, especially if you were like me and had I was, my dad and I were a little cheap when it came to video games, and we got the Mad Catz version of the Xbox controller, and it was even bigger than the original.
Well, that's not even the big one. That's the smaller size one.
Yeah, like the original Xbox controller, it had the weird white and black button. It never really felt right, and then the Mad Catz version was just like gigantic, like I couldn't fit my hands around.
The Xbox One is good, right, Dan? Like the newest controller.
Yes, no, it's still.
I still prefer the
heard good things
360
about that,
controller.
but-
I feel to the Xbox One controller.
No, I like the Xbox One controller better than the 360. I never was a super fan of the 360 one.
It just felt so nice in my hands.
It just, I don't know, something about it just didn't feel weird. I mean, I could also be a little bit biased because I was a big PlayStation person.
Also underrated. None of us brought it up. The Super Nintendo controller is actually extremely comfortable for what it is. I like how the buttons are angled. So Scott the Woz did a great video on controllers recently, and it really made me kind of think more about it. Like the Super Nintendo controller, I've never had an issue with. It's curved around your hands pretty good. Like it's just positioning of all the buttons is really nice on it. I know it doesn't have like any like hand grips like modern controllers do, but like for what it was back then, I think it was really good. Speaking of off-brand controllers, I had this PS1 controller that I bought a few times, and it so think about this. Think about a PS2 controller that was a little fatter, and in the grip area there was like you know how like you guys eat waffle fries?
Yeah.
You know
I've eaten a waffle
the little
fry.
square holes? It had like that in the grips.
Oh,
it
that's
was
neat.
rubber around it, and there was a fan on the inside, and it would blow.
Mention that, yeah.
Fan?
There was a fan on the inside.
Really?
It would blow, and it would blow air into your hands. Now, this is how you know it was an off-brand controller. One drop on the floor, and it didn't work anymore. I bought that controller twice because I really liked it, and I didn't drop it that. It's not like I, Gronk spiked it onto the ground or anything like that. Sorry for that football reference for anybody who doesn't watch sports.
Fantasy football? No.
But no, it was really cool to have that fan blowing into my hands because my hands would get sweaty. However, if your hands get sweaty now, feel free to pick up some Gamer Goo. It works really well. Alex, let me try some.
Really?
Yeah, it actually works really well. So
Ooh,
if you get sweaty hands, it'll last for like 5 or 6 hours.
Oh my God, I have to do that every time I have to. I'm just
I don't
wiping-
have
to
as
the
much
point where
problem with it
it's
now, but
Okay, actually, you have this problem too, Matt. It looks like. So I'm looking at the back of the
Whoa.
controller.
Don't goo me out. Out me. Say I'm gooey.
You're not gooey. I'm just saying.
I'm gonna call
like,
you Gooigi from now on.
just because this sticker has it's like starting to shift out of position. Mine's completely off just because I put my hands there and
Can I just say that the Sega Saturn controller is a complete mess?
It's a mess.
Every time
it is really weird to hold.
It's gross. Also, most games, it has like these 6 buttons here. Most games, all 3 of these buttons like did the same thing. Like you would just be like the same button. Oh God, I've actually never held a Sega Saturn controller. I was actually thinking
It's
of the
weird.
Genesis controller. The Genesis controller actually feels
It
pretty
feels
good.
nice, yeah.
But there is a Genesis controller that also has 6 buttons instead of 3.
It was like the turbo one.
Yeah, which I'm just like, why do all these buttons just do the same thing on most?
They do.
games?
They're usually just
This
turbo.
Saturn controller feels horrible.
It's weird.
Ugh.
They have a different
Yeah, it's not
type
great,
of
but I
controller
mean,
as well.
it's
I
up
have
to
I have a
time.
different edition as that.
I'm sorry, am I ruining your 90s childhood reminiscing?
Did you play a lot of games on Saturn?
I had a Saturn for a while. Yeah, I did. I played it for a while, and then I eventually, I think I traded in and switched it for PlayStation once I realized what horrible mistake I made. And I was able to play Metal Gear. So I only really played it, had it for like a year.
Do you still have a Saturn?
Yes.
You do. Okay.
Poor Saturn. I will say, I know I don't like the controller or the system very much, and the button placement, I could never understand what... Like, Nintendo just like changed up their entire system when switching to the Wiimote. Like, the B buttons on the bottom, they added a 1 and a 2 and a minus and a plus. Like, what's going on here? In the hand, though, the Wiimote feels comfortable. I will give them that. Like, it feels comfortable in the hand. Nintendo.
Yeah, it feels like a TV remote.
Yeah, but like it
They have that
curves
weird
around the
nunchuck-
index finger.
nunchuck add-on and
I
stuff.
might have just turned on your
So-
Wii or something.
Well,
when
No,
you
I don't
had
think
this
that
controller.
turns it on. I think you're good.
But yeah, so
This
you
is
know,
this probably inspired the Joy-Con.
Yeah.
Actually, now that I think about it, because they
absolutely.
wanted you to find out how you can use it this way, like horizontal.
you could you could turn
and
it both
vertically.
ways.
And I mean,
And then they carried the.
this was uncomfortable as hell. I remember
sideways?
Yeah, when
Yeah.
you tried to play it sideways, like, oh yeah, you can also use it as a control. It's
I
like,
actually
what
thought it
the-
felt better that way.
This
Or
way?
like I feel like it felt like a regular controller that
my
way
God,
because it had
this-
like an AB almost.
Oh, there's just too much. Like, I can't grip anything.
So I've talked about a couple controllers that I absolutely despise. Is there any aside from the N64 controller that we all think is dumb, although albeit again comfortable in the hands at points? Is there any controller that you guys just absolutely despise?
no, I don't really despise any controllers. I mean, the N64 one I think is bad, it's kind of I think a lot of people really love that controller, so it's not like a definite. People seem to have different passionate views on that controller. There's nothing else that comes to mind really quickly as something that it couldn't really handle. I mean, the Wii controller, it was hard to play games that weren't Nintendo games. Like, it was hard. It wasn't really mapped towards third party, which probably hurt it as far as like making people being able to make third party games for it, just because there's so few buttons on it, and it's just like not conducive to like a first person shooter or something like that. which is a little strange. Just if you're going to be out there and be different, I think that's just going to naturally kind of happen. But usually they've been getting kind of better over time. Like all the ones this system are pretty good. Like I do have some problems with the Switch, the Joy-Cons, but like you said, the Pro Controller is excellent. So
yeah, the Joy-Cons, I will say for what they are, like when they're in the cradle, like it isn't perfect, especially because the way the joysticks are, they're very short.
Yeah.
But I will say I've never had an issue with it. Like I didn't have the Pro Controller for like a year, and I never really had an issue. But yeah, the Pro Controller,
the doggy face thing.
Yeah, the dog face thing. Is this the Genesis controller that came with your new one?
that's the one that came with the Genesis Mini,
I
but
like
it looks
very cool.
It looks identical. Yeah.
Yeah, it's identical.
Well, that's what's supposed to. What about the original NES controller with those sharp corners? Anybody have any issues with those? Or?
No.
I was so little, I didn't know enough. I didn't
Yeah,
know any better.
I
But I mean, no,
love
that was like the best that was out at the time.
Yeah.
So
The buttons, like the sensitivity on the buttons for the NES controller, the original, like they didn't click in, but they felt good. Like it felt like the harder I pressed, the more it would do. Because if you look Mario jumping in the game, it was a little touch.
It was,
sensitive,
yeah, because you
know?
could jump a little bit and then you could jump a
Yeah.
lot.
But yeah, no, GameCube's definitely my favorite though. I don't know why. I know it's weird. The D-pad's stupid, but I don't know.
It's a sweet
I
controller.
love it. It feels so comfortable. It feels so good.
It feels comfortable. It just looks like
Probably
a disaster.
holds the record for the longest run of like using the same design on a controller. Although, yeah, because the ones they're putting out now are basically the same exact mold.
the GameCube ones.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're just Zelda.
But they're not
just
really using that as like the main controller.
No,
Pro controller.
but you can still buy it for Smash. But yeah, so that's really cool. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about today? I know it was a very slow news week, so it wasn't
Yeah,
much going
not
on.
one thing happened.
The only thing I wanted to talk about was I thought it was kind of neat that Death Stranding does not require the PlayStation Plus in order to play the multiplayer component of it, which I think is neat because I think that's going to give, because the whole game is about, other people helping, kind of like Dark Souls.
Yeah, so it's really not like a multiplayer.
It's not really multiplayer, but at least it's not going to exclude people for like, I don't feel like paying multiplayer.
Well, I think that makes sense because didn't Dark Souls not require Xbox Live to play that kind of multiplayer portion? Did it? Do you remember?
I don't know off the top of my head, but I feel like it did, especially to invade people. Like invade people's games and stuff like that.
That is good though.
But either way, I think it's neat because again, the more people that play and the more people that do things in the game, I guess, are going to change the way certain things are. If you want it to play that way, if you don't, again, you can play the thing entirely offline, which I like that you have that ability to do, whatever you want online or offline. But I think it's neat because if you want that experience, you're not going to exclude anybody. And I feel like this is one of those games where it's going to get the people that don't really play video games a lot and might not have the PlayStation Plus, type of thing. I feel like the PlayStation exclusives tend to go towards the single player people that don't always want the multiplayer. And I feel like he's going to get the Hideo Kojima fans that want the single player experience, but their input is going to affect other people's games.
He picked the right system this generation. More people want a PlayStation 4, so.
He did. Yeah, so I just thought that was a neat, thing because
Yeah, that's good that something so simple doesn't require the.
Well, on top of that, it's a PlayStation
Plus.
exclusive game too.
Yeah.
So hey, we could get people to get more, PlayStation Plus subscriptions, but he's like, nope, it doesn't require it.
I'm pretty sure Hideo is one of those people where if he said this is a condition, Sony would pretty much say, "Yep, okay, no problem."
Jump how high?
Like Sony is basically paying him for his name
Oh, absolutely.
at this point. It's not like they're having trouble moving consoles.
I'm buying
but-
it for his dumb name because this game looks stupid, but
I mean, there's some
kinda true,
there's
but-
some safety net I have with him that it's like he is tricking us somehow. Like, because I've been like just watching all the trailers like over and over again. I'm just looking in the background. No, I totally get it.
Found it.
I keep seeing. I mean, I know he sounds stupid when he says like, "Oh, the walking is actually fun." And the more I love games that you start out with nothing, like absolutely nothing, like Fallout. I absolutely love Fallout, where you start out as just this person that has like nothing except this vault outfit. You find your gun, you find all your inventory, and you need to manage it. And the way this game seems like it seems like it's going to be almost like a realistic Breath of the Wild type of thing, where it's all about exploring.
Yeah.
You can't just go on that mountain. You need winter clothes type of
long
thing.
as it doesn't go into the Red Dead Redemption 2 likeness of
Exactly.
realistic.
And I mean, I'm hoping some of it's kind of gimmicky, like, oh yeah, the baby's crying. Like, all right, yeah, I'll do that. But
I don't want to have to nurse a baby every hour.
no, I don't want to either. And somebody did I think it was Game Informer did like a giant questionnaire about that. And they were saying like, oh, we don't want, I'm sure people don't want like chores of like being like a parent in the game.
So it's a Sony exclusive, so they're going to try to get the touchpad in there, so you tap it a little to burp the baby, or you can rub it back and forth to rub the baby's back. That's how you get the touchpad in there.
God, don't give me these friggin' things. Like some of it was gimmicky, like he fell off a cliff in one of the things and the baby started crying. All right, I get it. But now that I think about it, like I've seen him get like zapped, and I didn't in one of his early trailers, and the baby didn't cry.
You hate babies too. I'm surprised that's not going to annoy you hearing those noises.
I mean, yeah, but it'll give me more incentive to shut the damn thing up. Like,
Oh my god! I hope you can't hurt the baby.
I'm not gonna hurt the baby. I actually think
Don't go swimming.
Well, he's encased, so
Oh, that's true. He's in like the
because
bubble.
he does go encased.
Oh, is it like a reference to 2001: A Space Odyssey? Wasn't there a scene at the end of that movie where there's like a baby in a bubble in the middle of space?
I don't know.
I don't
There's
know.
something.
I mean, you would probably get Hideo Kojima's like things better than I, but because I guess he's making a lot of references in this game to other things, and
Yeah,
I don't know what it is.
It's a scene in Space Odyssey where there's this baby in the middle of space, and he's like in this bubble. I mean,
that looks like it would be perfect, like
Yeah.
perfectly because I guess there's a lot of things that he's inspired by, and I wouldn't doubt it. That baby looks exactly like
I mean, it's been parodied a lot. Like I've seen parodies of it.
the other parody. I'm thinking the more that I think about it,
Yeah,
is like
that's the actual scene from the movie. He's like in a bubble in the middle of space. That was like an artsy, weird movie. Now we've gone way deep off the rails.
But the only thing I can think of too is that now that I think of the more where they're carrying the baby, it feels like you're becoming almost like a mother, like
Yay.
through this game, which is
That's the game I wanted to play.
Yay.
I know, but again, the more I see the cutscenes, I'm like, oh, this feels like a.
Those were like those crappy like malware games they made for the DS. Like it was like, oh, girls be a mom, or girls be
Girls Be a
gymnastics.
Mom.
the-
I don't think
the
that's
dog-
a game.
No, what were the name of those
Dogs,
games?
cats, and
They were very popular.
I know what
it was
you're talking
It was
about.
like games geared towards girls to help you be like either a gymnast or a mom, or like like
yeah, no, I know.
the pink aisle at the Toys R Us store.
You mean everything that's 99 cents at GameStop now?
basically, or
It's
yeah. Anyways, anything else? Any other news or things you guys want to talk about?
No.
So just once more, I wanted to shout out to Sophie at Sleepy Toadstool on Twitter. Also visit her website at spookytoadstool.com. And thank you again for the game. I've been looking forward to playing Inside for a very long time. I've somehow avoided any information about the game. And boys, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter on Matt Talks Games.
You can find me, Dan, at Twitter, or on Twitter, at Game Review Guy.
Find Dan
Just
at
go to Twitter and you'll find Dan.
Just tweet
Good luck.
at Twitter and it'll be to Dan.
Yeah, at Game Review Guy.
And you can find me at Highly and Andy on Twitter. And you can also find the podcast at manabarpodcast on Twitter, manabarpodcast@gmail.com. If you have any suggestions or, something you'd want us to talk about on the podcast. You can also find us on Instagram at the Manabar Podcast. Hoping to get rid of that "the" pretty soon. There's a lot of legal reasons why I can't remove it yet. I'm being sued by. Never mind. But we'll get into that some other time. And with that, this is the Trophy Hunter, the Collector, and the Bargain Bin Gamer logging off.